Go ahead, Fricky.
We in?
Yeah, we're live.
We're on. All right, what's going on, everybody? Loose Mesh Nation. Frick Neely, we got the big rig. Joel Watson making his podcast debut. And on the end, the man, the myth, the legend, Dawson Nielsen. Boys, live at the TTC. We got Oshawa, we got Halifax. Doss, first of all, how was your trip? What do you think of Ontario? And let's get into the game.
Man, Ontario, there's some funny people here, some funny cars going down the road. I don't know how you guys make it on a daily basis, but I just prayed and got here safely. That's I'm just glad for.
And we got the debut with the rig.
Yeah, no, excited to be here. Thanks for having me, guys. Excited to talk shop.
So first of all, let's get into last night. Halifax, Ottawa. Rumor on the street is the boys from Halifax didn't get in until 2 in the morning. We got bus legs. We got loose game legs. Like, what are we thinking here, Joel? What are we expecting from the Firewolves?
You know, they're young, they're fresh. They should come out strong. They've slid, 4 in a row now, 3 in a row. I think I think the Thunderbirds are going to come in tonight ready to go, though. They're coming off bus legs, but big win last night. Looking for a 4-point weekend.
Yeah, I think, there's a couple injuries at the end of the game. Withers goes down with apparently a wrist injury. Let's see what he kind of debut on that dot. And I mean, that's going to be massive if he can win that face-off against Bernie. Hopefully he's in. I know Fricky has the lineup. Going to read the lineup here shortly for us. But, it's legs, man, legs. How healthy is these legs? The one thing, Fricky, you and I talked about off air was this is probably one of the worst transitional teams going up and down the floor right now. And how Oshawa likes to run the floor. They like to push the ball in transition. Can they push the ball in transition and score? That's going to be the key moment for Oshawa to win this game tonight at home.
So I think that would bring us to our loading lacrosse keys of the game, right? Halifax has to get off the floor. They might actually be one of the worst teams in NLL history for transition goals. So that's going to be I got a couple jobs written down for you from last night. Yep. Okay, so before our next pod, that's going to be your job to see on how many transition goals they get just by being, and I don't want to call it lazy, because it's not lazy getting off the floor, but I just feel like it's a little undisciplined. And Joel, as a goalie, how frustrating is that, just watching your guys lollygag off of the floor, getting back and trying to get to the bench?
Yeah, no, for sure. When you don't have especially their left side in Halifax too, right? It's big, slow. I know Patty G says that Theodore Moose is a stud, but I find them slow. Jammer also old, slowing down, but they're still elite goal scorers, right? But yeah, as a goaltender, it's hard when the other team's pushing the ball in transition the whole game. That's when these teams go on runs, and that's where the game can get away from you. So if you win the game in between the restraining lines, you should have success. So,
and then I would think the other key to Halifax's game, and it's no secret, they have to stay out of the penalty box. I think it was under 30 seconds into last night, they had their first penalty of the game. They killed it off. Great job on them. And then right away again, they had to kill another penalty, and it was just a consistent parade to the penalty box.
Discipline has been a key factor. Yesterday they almost got caught against Ottawa. They got caught the last 2 weekends before this weekend against Saskatchewan. How many goals did Saskatchewan put up in the last 2 weekends against Halifax? They got to stay out of the box. Yes, your defense can hold you to, giving up 4 against us the previous weekend. But man, you've got to stay out of the box within this league. It's 5v4.
One thing we have to remember though, Warren Hill has been absolutely unbelievable this year.
Gross.
The last time these two teams played, how many goals did Oshawa score?
Dos amigos.
The thing is good. What's key for Oshawa tonight is penetrate the defense. And honestly, from what I've seen of the Oshawa offense, I don't know if they go inside on those big hitters down on the Thunderbirds D.
Okay, so let's get into it. Goalie Factory, keys of the game for Oshawa. Obviously, we've had a running joke to where I've been firing $100 bills in the middle, and I've been coming out with a $100 bill every single time for Oshawa. So obviously, Dust, their key to the game tonight would be getting into the middle, create a little chaos, and let Simmons come over the top. Let Dyson Williams come over the top, and then that opens up everything else.
You gotta create space in the middle to create outside space, right? If you're shooting the ball and balls are dropping out from the far side, they're gonna start closing that off, and that's what happened against Ottawa, right? We saw that game there. Simmons was shorting dimes outside the center. Then you gotta work your side back to the inside, and then funnel it out. Frick, you talked about it on the podcast. If you can't have two sides to get inside, outside, you have no game. If you're just worrying about your outside game, goalies are going to eat the ball up, especially like our big boy Joey.
I think one thing too tonight, we got to see someone else on the Oshawa offense do something. We need to see a Taggart Clark, an Ethan Walker penetrate that middle of the floor, and they've got to be the big guy tonight, because I know the Thunderbirds have a plan for Williams and Simmons.
So being here last week, it was good to finally see their 1A and 1B get going in Dyson Williams and Alex Simmons. And Joel, I think you hit the nail right on the head there. Their tertiary pieces have to be a whole lot better. And then I would say that their secondary key to the game for Oshawa would be getting up and down the floor, because as we said about a key for Halifax, Dawson, they don't get off the floor well. So if Oshawa can push pace, and as Joel says, with the game in the middle of the floor, that's going to be one of their keys to success tonight in Oshawa.
It's 100% true. If you got to own the middle of the floor, if you own the middle of the floor, you own three different aspects, right? Transition, being disciplined, and the other aspect is moving the ball. We have to see more movement on ball on both sides. Sometimes it dies and sticks on both of these teams, and to me, that's my third key at the moment. If you're disciplined, you're being able to get in on the inside, you'll be able to move the ball around the floor, yes, you're going to win this game. But these both teams, what they lack of is moving the ball and having efficiency with the ball.
Another thing too, big for Oshawa tonight, play a full 60 minutes. I've been to every game so far, I found they have one quarter, 3/4 of a quarter where they just kind of shut down and the offense goes stale. We can't have that tonight against the Thunderbirds, because that's when they'll take advantage.
All right, so let's get into lineup scratches tonight. As our boys Jenner and Greggy like to say, everything you need to know. Everything you need to know. So out for Halifax tonight, we got the lefty forward, Jason Knox, and Watsy. Me and you were actually really, really surprised at this. The transition, tough guy, Nonco Thompson, a scratch for Halifax tonight. So obviously we saw Wiz shake off a little wrist injury, so he should be good to go. Watsy, you had a little inside knowledge that Dawson Feed might be fighting a little bit of a lower body injury, so he's obviously ready to go. What do you think of that scratch, specifically Nonco Thompson being a scratch for Halifax?
Frankie, what comes to my mind is that penalty you took in the late in that fourth quarter when the Ottawa could have came back there. I think that is a penalty where they're not, we wanted them to snip by it and get disciplined. Scratching him, Nonco Thompson, for that reason, I think it's a good idea for this team moving forward. Is it a good idea right now? I'm unsure about if this is the game to do it.
Yeah, like what Doss just said, going forward, maybe this game tonight, I don't know. You're coming off of a back-to-back where, yeah, you took a dumb penalty late, but he's still an effective defensive player, and he can move the ball well in transition. Well, we're talking about where Halifax struggles. He's one bright spot. So tonight, I thought maybe younger legs, he would have been in the lineup, but we see him get the scratch from Coach Kersey.
And then what, do we think maybe Jason Knox, is a scratch to maybe free up a little bit more room for Will McLeod, because that game by him last night, NLL debut, 4 goals, 2 assists, 6 points. Like that's remarkable. So are they opening up a little bit of space for him, Joel?
Unfortunately for Jason Knox, I don't know if this is going to be a fit for him now in Halifax, just with the way McLeod played last night. I don't see him coming out of the lineup there. And you already have the big bodies on the left side and Jammer and Peter to create space. So it's going to be a battle for him to get back in this lineup if McLeod keeps playing the way he did last night.
And then a little bit more roster news coming out of Halifax is we have Austin Blumbergs moved to the practice roster and Christian Watts active onto the active roster. What do we think about that, Doss?
I think Christian Watts is a guy that they needed. You and I talked about last podcast, talking about like, hey, like this is a guy that they need on the floor, and maybe he can shoot the ball for them. Because on that right side of the floor, he hasn't been good, right? That's where we kind of see the dagger in this Halifax team. Man, I think it's a smart move by bringing in healthy body, especially on the back-to-back. This is a big game for a guy that's coming into his first one, though.
And then, Joel, obviously, no surprise, Halifax coming back with the King of the Hill, Warren Hill. You were kind of thinking maybe they would rotate, but is this a surprise to you, or is the fact that they just didn't give Hutchie a run more of a surprise over starting one of the league's best goaltenders? Warren Hill?
I don't think it's a surprise that they started Warren. I just thought maybe they'd give Hutchie a chance. Listen, Hutchie's been great, and for the fact that he's still a backup with the way some other teams run their goalie situation, again, not going to say any names, but give him a chance, right? But you know what? The way Warren's played, I understand the run with him, and I'm sure he'll be great tonight.
And then, did you have another Halifax point?
Well, the one thing I want to jump in is Garen Schummer on the comment section. He said T-Birds are overrated. What is your comments and discussion points around, is T-Birds overrated going into the season right now?
Well, no.
Are they in that top one, that tier one ranking, let's call it?
I think they're rated exactly where they should be, right? Like we all know their weaknesses, right? They're I don't want to say they're undisciplined, but they walk the line. And as we've said on the pod a couple different times, I just think some of these veteran NLL referees are getting tired of the act, right? So I just think they're not buying it anymore. I don't see how a team with guys like Warren Hill and CP24 and Randy Stats and Dawson Feed and now Will McLeod, I don't see how they can be overrated, because those are all great National Lacrosse League lacrosse players.
Well, another name I'll mention too on the back end, Graham Hossack.
Oh yeah,
For me,
ever heard of him?
one of the best defenders in the world. Listen,
Oh yeah,
this Halifax team is built for success.
yeah.
I think, they haven't found it in years past, but that doesn't mean they can't find it. Achilles heel, they brought in Getty, they brought in Hutch to push Warren, and look what it's done.
Yeah,
Look what it's done.
Right, it seems to
He's
be
one of the
paying off.
best goaltenders in the NLL right now,
Yeah.
if not the best goalie in the NLL right now.
Yeah.
So I think this team has all the pieces to make a run for the championship this year. It's just to see if they put it all together.
Is it a wake-up call for Warren Hill once they brought in Justin Getty and Hutchie?
I don't know if it's a wake-up call for him, but it's definitely, there's other people there.
It's got it's
It's a crowded goalie room. It's three guys that have experience playing in the NLL.
he's a professional athlete, so the wake up call. I think that's just wrong terminology. What I would say, anything, is it's a motivating factor for him to get in the net and say, you know what, the other two guys, this is my net, and I'm not giving it to you. You're gonna have to take it from me.
It's a healthy competition. That's
So
all it is.
moving to the Oshawa side, right? We have Blake McDonald out for the defense, Jonathan Peshko for the second game in a row, a healthy scratch as well, and obviously, surprise, surprise, one Mr. Douglas Jameson starting in the cage for Oshawa.
I think that's the least amount of surprise, but you know what? I think there's one guy that we haven't been hard on enough, and that's Jonathan Peshko. You were brought in to help that right side and to be that guy. And this guy hasn't not been any kind of sniff of the trade of what, Glenn Clark wanted to bring into this lineup. Man, I think it's going to be a long waiting period for him to come back in.
And being a high draft pick as well, you have that implied pedigree, right? You have that little bit of.
Yeah, he was what, 4th overall?
4th by Vancouver, I believe.
Yeah.
Right. So that's one guy that really needs to, strap his boots on at practice and really bear down and get back to the basics, because obviously right now, you were shipped out by Vancouver and Kurt.
Well, I was just about to say.
Kurt's
Kurt
one
doesn't ship out young talent quickly, right?
Yeah.
He's one he'll take a look at you and give you a chance. And I just found it was a pretty quick stay for Peshko in Vancouver. And
got to get rid of it, Kersey. I don't know about that.
But yeah, back to Peshko. I hope going forward maybe he'll find his groove, because I have seen him be a great lacrosse player. So, but yeah, it's and then Blake McDonald's been on the. I think he's played one game this year for Oshawa. So I don't know if we'll see him back in the lineup soon or not.
Again, I think he's just a young complementary piece that they're going to try and slowly bring along, kind of like a Hawaii Francis. And now that brings me to my next point. With this being as close to a must-win game for Oshawa as possible, if that left side doesn't produce and start to get Ewok and Dyson a little bit more open, with what's his name, Kazchuk going down there playing offense, with Corson Keeley being down there the last game, is it almost, and I know I've spoken with Clarkie and Clem, and they say Hawaii's about a year away, but hypothetically, they don't perform tonight to their expected abilities. Is it time to push the Hawaii Francis button?
You go 1-6 after this weekend, man. I think all cards are on the table. And sorry to say, Frick, but Clemmy might be that guy. Gibby might be the guy.
Who?
You know, Clem or Gibson,
Yeah.
right? They might be the two guys that are going out. Or it's a big trade. Something has to happen here tonight. They have to win. They have to win. If they don't win tonight, you know what, honestly, I think that's why Albany brought us out. Sorry, Oshawa brought us out here, right? They brought us out here to try to give these boys a bump, okay? They try to give these boys a bump. Because if they don't get a bump here tonight, there's a big trade, or Clemmy or Gibson's out the door. Enough is enough with the BS. They got to get to the middle. They got to work their ass off. Because this franchise, from people within the organization that have close ties to, if they do not have a winning season this year, they're worried. They're worried about the future of this franchise.
My thing is, like, yeah, we can talk about them going to the middle. They're not going to the middle of the floor tonight. They're not. It's the same guys they've been running. They're not going to the middle of the floor tonight. They scored how many goals last week? 14? It was a great. Did they go to the middle?
Never.
No.
Never.
They're not going to the middle of the floor, so let's put that out the window. A guy like Francis, he might go to the middle.
He lives
Don't
there.
get me wrong.
He lives there.
Patrick Koschuk is a great defensive transition player.
Yes.
He's never played offense in his life.
No.
Why did they think that this was the right move? General question.
I don't know. Sorry, I'm just mesmerized by Green Gales legend Terry Rowland walking by. My apologies, but
When do you
Couple
see
Gales-
that?
couple Gales
When do you
alumni
see
over
that
here,
ever
so-
coming every day? Just a legend like that, just walking
Terry,
by.
again, for the local lacrosse fans, Terry Rowland is an absolute legend of the game. He's somebody that I hold near and dear to my heart as well. Well, let's speak about that. Tonight's special night, right? It's Green Gales. You can call them the Oshawa Green Gales.
2000, baby. How's that come?
You can call them the Clarington Green Gales. You can call them the Huntsville Green Gales. Mr. Bishop, the legendary, absolute Hall of Fame legendary Mr. Bishop. So we're going to have some 80th anniversary jerseys walking by. We're going to have some 2000 national champions walking by. Some 2002 national champions walking by. Some other bums in the organization walking by.
2016 alumni.
Right? So how do you feel about us being here for the Oshawa, not the Victoria Shamrocks, the Oshawa Green Gales? How do we feel about being here tonight on such a special, momentous occasion?
Man, this is crazy just to breathe in. And Fricky, we've seen it. The Minto Cup and the Man Cup is in the building, man. So to add top of the flavor, add top of the emotions that are in the flavor, just running between those two cups, one of the greatest cups that ever for lacrosse that you can win, man. Tell me how hyped this atmosphere is going to get.
Seven times in a row. I know it was the 60s, Joel, but 7 times in a row, the Oshawa Green Gales hoisted the Minto Cup. Now, again, this is going to be the most ridiculous question of the evening, okay?
Yeah.
Do you think we ever see anything close to that again?
No. The only reason being is the turnover on these Minto Cup teams now is it's year by year basis now, right? These teams plan. I'm a GM in the Junior A League in Ontario, and
Not a big deal.
we plan years ahead in sense of when we want to compete for the Minto Cup. Last year, Whippy, we took a run, fell short in the Ontario final. This year, I have 12 new faces on my team.
Hey, I'm not scared to say it.
Do we expect
Hold on. I'm not
Every
scared
year
to
we
say
expect a
it.
Mental
Steve
Cup.
Covett, maybe make sure you don't schedule 2 national titles in the same kind of time, man. Maybe how about we give a time where Wimpy can make a run? And yeah, Fricky, I'll go on the hot seat, man. If you think that Wimpy's not in the national title there instead of Northman, you're absolutely crazy. They brought them to Game 7, man. Game 7. Was it Game 6 or Game 7? Sorry.
Game 6.
Game
overtime.
6. But you're winning
Every
that.
single ball in that series.
Oh man, you're winning that ball in the last couple seconds to send that to Game 7. You're winning that in the last couple seconds of Game 7 if you have your, all the guys that you had to send off for
I got
Team Canada.
PTSD. Can we stop?
All right, so we got the Firewolves in the Oshawa jerseys. Speaking of, we got legendary Clarington Greengale Duke McNutt with a little stroll by Dookie. But we got the Firewolves and the Greengales jerseys on the floor right now. Let's all just take a quick back and admire how beautiful these things are. Like, they're just sharp green, nice, beautiful white. Like, they look absolutely immaculate this evening. The crowd's just starting to file in. So let's have a little bit of a prediction. Doss, we'll start with you. What are you predicting for this evening? And then we'll get into some comments.
I'm predicting the back and forth fair, man. I think it's going to be emotional, just with all the emotions in here. We talked about the Man Cup, we talked about the Minto Cup, we talked about the 7-time champion Greengales being in the building. It's motions to be full of motions, and guess what, Fricky? I might have made a mistake on Lac Sealy by taking Oshawa, but I know that Oshawa can stay disciplined, and with all the motion in the building, I don't think that Halifax is going to stay emotional. Okay, they're going to not stay disciplined. That's my prediction. They're coming off 2 games back to back.
Who's winning?
Oshawa Firewolf.
What's the score?
Give me 14-11.
14-11. Joel, what do you got?
Yeah, you know what? I'll be the enemy on the pod. I got the Birds. I really like the game. I like Warren's game. I like Dougie's game. Don't get me wrong, but I just like when the Birds put it all together, and I think they do it again tonight, coming off the back-to-back. I got T-Birds 12-8.
T-Birds 12-8. Hold on a second. We got some fans. You want to jump up and say hi to the world? Look, you're right there. Here, come here. This is my buddy. Say hi. All right. Look at that. Big fans. Thanks for stopping by, bud. How are you? Good. All right, so you got Halifax, and what's the score? 12-8. Okay, you're not the enemy of the pause, Joel, because I also, and I have receipts, Mr. Nielsen, I have picked Halifax tonight, and the reason being is my problem with the Oshawa offense. They can't get to the middle of the floor. Warren's playing absolutely out of his skull right now, and if you go up and down the walls and stay to the outside, I think Warren's going to have your number. Reason number 2, I'm taking Halifax, because I have been an absolute mush to my hometown Firewolves and to my boy Dyson Williams. Didn't take him last week, and he had a game, and they almost surprised us. So I'm not taking him this week. I'm going to actually say reverse. I think they're going to be terrible, and I think Dyson's going to suck. Just kidding. I hope this isn't a mush.
I like the reverse psychology that you're bringing here.
So I want.
So you do have.
I have the T-Birds to win, but this is reverse mush time. Okay? And I'm going to say it's T-Birds 15, Oshawa 14 in overtime.
Wow.
Fans are getting goals tonight.
Fans are getting
29 goals.
The fans are getting goals tonight. It's going to be active. We got the legend Paul Stewart walking by now. The people are just coming up to say hi to the loose mesh pads. We are absolutely in the building tonight. We got about 5 minutes till game time. It says on the clock we got 5 minutes. So let's talk a little bit about last night. Okay, speaking of legends, look who's strolling up here now. Douglas Loué. That guy right there, Doss, absolute local legend.
How will we get him on a pod? I'm going to see if I can go get him. How about that?
Gonna go see if we can get Doug. You don't want Doug on the pod. Yeah, you don't want Doug on the pod. All right, we'll talk a little bit about last night. Douglas, How are you? We'll talk a little bit about last night. Oh, there you go.
Hey, come and show the camera that. Show the camera yours. I want to see it. Nice.
I got it. All right, we're gonna get into a little bit of last night. Vancouver, Calgary in overtime. Now, we have been at the start of the year a little bit hard on Calgary, and I soaked it. I know. Sorry, Joel, you're new on the pod, so you might not have been hard on them. We on Loose Mesh have been rather hard on Calgary. A couple weeks ago, I flipped the script, and I said I was wrong. I think Calgary is going to be an absolute problem for some of these teams in the NLL. They run hard, they work their bag off, they're systematical, they're structured, and they're disciplined. And we're going to talk about this more on the weekly episode. But good God, if Tanner Cook gets going, look out, National Lacrosse League.
Tanner Cook, true number one.
Agreed.
True number one.
Agreed.
He's been in shadows for how many years now? Like, not in a huge way. Obviously, he's a member of Team Canada. Don't get me wrong, but he's a true number one lefty on that team now.
Yeah.
Look what happens when he puts the ball in his stick. Puts the ball towards the net. It's going in. The rock's dropping. So, we got more friends of the pod dropping by.
More friends of the pod.
But and you know what? Walsh has been good.
Oh,
I don't care what anyone says. Walsh has been good.
Right?
Yeah, you go from Christian to Aiden Walsh, but Aiden Walsh has been lights out for that team. And he has not been the issue.
I like to have a little bit of joke on the pod. And you might not want to play a game of cards with him.
No.
But he's one hell of a goaltender, Joel. Dawson, what do you think about last night going into overtime? Are you surprised at the overtime, or do you like Calgary's scrappy, man? They're a scrappy club.
You know, I was there at the game when they lost pretty badly to the Buffalo Bandits. They didn't like how they lost. They didn't like how the second half. Man, I was in that scrum when I was watching Shooter just absolutely beat down on his team in the scrum. I'm telling you, I've never been scared in my life because that guy was just beaming mad coming out of the dressing room. The last 2 weekends, they have shown up. Yeah, did they not get the full 2 points over in last night's game? But Fricky, you know what? Joe Watson was telling me today, we had a conversation, and one of your boys that you bought all the stock into, one of the goalie factory boys as well, but Caleb Kahn did not have a good night last night.
Well, I'm going to let my boy, the goaltender expert, Joel, talk about that. But you're right, he definitely did not.
Yeah, like I said, the kid's 18, and there's a learning curve to this league. But a lot of people have said that he's ready to jump into this league. I don't care who you are. This isn't a league you just jump into and you're ready. It hits you quick, it hits you fast, and these guys don't care who you are in that. They have one job, and it's to put the ball behind.
I will.
They don't feel sorry for you. They don't, and that's what they did last night. 8 on 17 shots in 15 minutes of play. Yeah, it's going to get better. I just think there's a lot of work there to be done.
All right, and then we'll get going. We're going to get started with the game here soon, but San Diego, Toronto. That's not one that I seen coming that way. I'll give 66 his due, Joel. He played extremely well last night, and my only problem is for them to win, he has to play that well every single night, and I don't know if there's value.
CJ Curse had 5 goals,
but that's
2 from the lefty, 2 from the lefty, and 2 from the right.
That's not sustainable success.
Jesus.
Right? The same thing here.
I'm not buying your bad stuff on CJ.
No. I don't. What I'm saying is it's not sustainable for CJ to go off for 5 every single night and for them to win. So the same as here in Oshawa, their tertiary pieces have to be entirely more active. Mark has to be Mark. JD,
What's your thought about Dan Craig going from defense to offense?
Dan Craig's an offensive guy.
He was going on back from
I just think that's to, again, as Joel said earlier, games are won and lost in between the lines, right? So I think that's just for them to, because they're not the youngest team in the league anymore. They're pretty, slow of foot. So what do we got in the comments here before we wrap up, gentlemen?
Some guy's calling Doss a tool.
Why?
I don't know.
The weird headphone guy is a tool. Why?
Caravellis said he was ready, and he knows everything.
Well, considering that whatever his name is didn't know that the Oshawa Green Gals had won 7 Minto Cups in a row, and he was wondering why they were wearing Victoria Shamrocks jerseys, I'm not going to take anything that he says with any kind of grain of salt whatsoever. But anybody here, what are we thinking about? Is this or is this not a must-win game for Oshawa?
Yes, must game. It's a must win. This is a must win game.
Must win or can't lose, Joel?
They have to have more than Halifax tonight, unless they want major change.
Major change.
Major change.
All right, we'll wrap it up with this, everybody. So tune back in at halftime. We'll be here for a live halftime episode. A little bit of stats, a little bit of recap. Thank everybody for joining us here. This is amazing. We thank the Oshawa Firewolves for having us and hosting us tonight. And hopefully we have a great first half. And we'll talk. Look at our hats. Look at our sponsors. We want to thank our sponsors, the Goalie Factory, training goalies, doing good things, somersaults, tennis balls, all that good stuff. Jolie, we got to get a content piece of you doing some somersaults.
I'm far past somersaults.
How about some barrel rolls on the blue line?
And the boys loading lacrosse. We got a Tonka up front. We got a blue hat for the big rig, Joel Watson. It's game time, folks. Thank you very much. Coolbet, Goalie Factory, Gat Wealth Management. Who else am I forgetting here?
Niagara Fitness Solutions.
Niagara Fit, Danny Bowman.
Who maybe a new one.
Danny
Bowman. But hey, it's all good. Hey, Pat Gregoire. Yes, your comment. We need more stuff on the desk. I'm missing some Coolbet stuff. Maybe next time answer your phone call.
Big Joel doing the barrel rolls. All right, folks, thanks a lot for joining in. Enjoy the first half.